Hello everyone, and welcome to GHIT's 11th Proposal Writing Seminar. I'm Eriko Koyama of the GHIT Fund Partnership Development, and I'll be facilitating today's session. So today, we're expecting our webinar to be a little bit beyond 1 hour, where the webinar to take about 45 minutes on its own, followed by the Q&A session. And here's our today's agenda. Before we start the webinar, please allow us to give you some brief instruction about today's webinar. This webinar is intended to summarize key points for creating proposals. Please note that even if you cover all the contents presented today, it does not guarantee the investment from the GHIT Fund. The contents of the webinar is currently as of June 2025. It is subjected to change in the future. If you have any questions, please submit them via the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. You may be able to submit your questions anytime during this webinar. Please note that we may select and answer popular questions altogether rather than addressing every similar question. Also, please note that we may not be able to answer all questions due to the time constraints. If you experience any problems with the audios or video, please enter a message in the chat box or contact the email address below. The questions received today may be published anonymously on our FAQ website for the GHIT Fund. If you do not wish your questions to be published, please contact the email address below. And today's webinar is recorded. It will be posted on our GHIT Fund website later. The GHIT Fund will also send the newsletters and other announcements to the email address you've provided during this registration. If you do not wish to receive these communications, please also contact us the email address below. So now we'd like to start with the GHIT Fund Proposal Writing Seminar. Please allow me to introduce our first speaker today, Hayato Urabe, Associate Vice President, Investment for Impact, to talk through about GHIT Fund. Hayato, the floor is yours.
Okay, great. Thank you, Eriko. Nice to meet everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening for maybe some of you. Thank you for joining GHIT Fund's Proposal Writing Seminar. I'll give you a little bit of an overview of who we are, what we do, and what we have accomplished, and also our objective for today as well. So what is GHIT Fund? For those of you who don't know, GHIT Fund, we call it GHIT Fund, GHIT, and we call it GHIT Fund. We're an international nonprofit organization that supports product development of drugs, vaccines, and diagnostics for malaria, TB, and NTDs primarily. And of course, for some of you who don't know what makes us unique, of course, we are a Japan and global partnerships. The partnerships is very central to what we do. Of course, all our funded projects, as you will hear from our colleagues later on, they all require a partnership between Japan and non-Japanese organizations. And of course, we fund on what few other funders will. Basically, what it means is that while many funders shy away from early stage or high risk innovations, we embrace it, especially in NTDs and conditions with limited commercial incentives. For example, we'll support novel compound screening or preclinical studies that are often high risk and maybe there are certain uncertainties. So we do make our investment or give out grants for those programs that are of high risk. Third point, in terms of what we do give out substantial flexible funding. Of course, as you will hear from our colleagues later on, our programs last multi-years investment, and they can reach several millions of dollars with the flexibility across drugs, vaccines, and diagnostics. And lastly, access to an ecosystem. We would like to really see that we will have more people, like everyone who is interested, for those who are joining the call today. We're looking for everyone to join our community and look for solutions with these, maybe we'll consider people as comrades, maybe fighting against neglected diseases, and hoping to clarify or demystify some of the project processes that we have to follow in order for you to get the funding. Next slide, please. So GHIT Fund, we are a fund, we call ourselves public and private partnership. So of course, we have both the public and private, and we're very fortunate to have full partners from the public sector, both from the two ministries from Japan, Japanese government, as well as UNDP, with the full partners, both from Gates Foundation and the Wellcome Trust being the private foundations, and of course the full partners contributions from major pharmaceutical companies, both from Japan and overseas, as well as diagnostics companies and other CROs, etc., and sponsors, including those that you can see on bottom left. Next slide, please. And before I pass over to my colleagues to give you a little bit more on the details, this is just to give you a flavor of what we have accomplished over the last 10 years, over 10 years. We have invested more than 30 billion yen over the last 12 or so years, and more than 120 R&D projects involving Japanese and non-Japanese organizations, with total investment over, as I mentioned, $350 million. And we have had one registration of a product with currently over 10 projects that are in clinical trials. So we would hope to see a lot of the people who are interested to learn a little bit more about GHIT Fund today, and hopefully for those who are interested, we'll get the opportunity to read your proposal. With that, I would like to pass over to Naoto, who's going to give you a little bit more flavors on the investment platforms. Thanks.
Thank you, Hayato, for the brief explanation about the GHIT Fund and what we do. The next speaker, as suggested by Hayato, is going to be Naoto Saigusa of Partnership Development. Naoto, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Eriko and Hayato, for kind introduction. And I am Naoto from Partnership Development Division, the GHIT Fund. So following Hayato's session of GHIT Fund itself, let me introduce its investment platforms, in other words, your funding opportunities. So let's start with an overview. The GHIT offers 4 investment platforms that cover different R&D stages from early discovery to product registration. There are 2 main platforms called Target Research Platform and Product Development Platform. Then the 3 different interventions, drug, vaccine, and diagnostic, are covered by both platforms. Then only for drugs, we also have 2 other platforms, screening and hit to read, where we work with established product development partners to systematically evaluate compound libraries and convert promising hits into leads for drugs. As we will not be focusing on those platforms today, please see our website or contact us for more information. So we will focus on Target Research Platform, we call it TRP, and Product Development Platform, PD. As you may see, the biggest difference between these 2 platforms is development stages. Our Target Research Platform is for projects in the discovery phase. The standard TRP award is what we will be focusing on this webinar, while we still have 2 other awards. If you have questions about those awards, please contact us separately. Then our Product Development Platform is for projects that have reached the preclinical, clinical, and regulatory phases of R&D. For drug and vaccines, it focuses on promising candidates in need of lead optimization, preclinical and clinical development, manufacturing scale-up, or regulatory approval. For diagnostic, it focuses on phases of product design, validation, and up to regulatory approval. And the key question for many applicants is which platform is right for my project? Choosing the wrong platform is one reason a proposal may not advance, regardless of its scientific merit. So please choose carefully the platform that matches the R&D stage your proposal focuses on. Then, if you have trouble figuring out which platform is the best match, please feel free to contact us to discuss it. Then, regarding the budget, the maximum budget for TRP is 100 million Japanese yen, which equals approximately 700,000 US dollars. For PD, product development platform, we do not set exact amount as a fixed budget cap. But generally speaking, a project costs more when it goes into the later R&D stages. So in fact, we have many projects which have received more than 100 million Japanese yen for product development platform. However, please also note that there is a requirement regarding co-funding. When the project is in a certain phase, we require other funding sources apart from GHIT. They can be other funding agencies or in-kind contributions from partner organizations. For drug and vaccine, in phase 2B or later, we require the co-funding of more than 50% of the total project budget. For diagnostic, in phase 3 of validation and regulatory or later, we require the co-funding of more than 25% of the total project budget. Then, here you can see the summary of eligibility. So the first sentence is quite obvious, I believe. The proposal must align with the requirements outlined in Request for Proposal, RFP. So please make sure to look through the RFP document, which are currently open. Then let me move to the box on the right. Then the project duration must be up to 2 years. So in many cases, it is difficult to reach the ultimate goal of the product registration within 2 years. So please define the goal for those 2 years. Then, especially when you reach the milestone successfully, we would like you to make an application again. Then, of course, you need to go through the evaluation again. But ideally, your project will be awarded again and will lead to the final goal of the product registration. Then, as I already mentioned, the 3 interventions are covered by TRP and PD. Then, talking about disease forecast. So they are mainly malaria, TB, tuberculosis, and NTDs, and neglected tropical diseases. And many of you already know that NTDs are 21 different diseases designated by WHO. Actually, we do not set priorities among these disease areas. However, especially for product development platforms, specific intervention for specific diseases are out of scope. As we cannot have time to explain in detail for today's seminar, please carefully see the RFP for which you are considering applying. The diseases with pandemic potential and public health emergency, they are relatively new disease scopes for GHIT, which have been introduced after the COVID-19 pandemic. The target diseases are not listed here, but in your proposal, you need to clearly explain the reason why the diseases you address can be a threat to global health. So for these diseases, the review process could be a little bit different and flexible because of its nature, which requires immediate responses. So please feel free to contact us for more details if you are interested. The next is who can apply. Well, there's no limitation on the type of organization as long as it is legally registered entity. So it can be private companies, nonprofits, research institutions, and so on. But the important and unique point is that an established partnership between multiple organizations is required. GHIT does not invest in individual persons or individual organizations, but in projects managed by the partnerships. So let me talk a little bit more about the partnership. So each proposal must have at least one Japanese and one non-Japanese organizations. Whether it is Japanese or non-Japanese is based on where the headquarters are located. For example, if you are working in a research lab in United States, and the headquarters of the organization is in Japan, it is considered as a Japanese organization. And importantly, regardless of platform, every proposal must demonstrate meaningful Japanese scientific contribution and genuine international partnership. So you should not include organizations in your partnership only to clear this eligibility. The effective international partnership is one of the most important subjects of review. Then each organization must submit a certified copy of registration and financial statements. If the organization is more than 3 years old, the financial documents of the most recent 3 fiscal years are requested. These documents are not the direct subjects of the proposal review, but a due diligence check will be conducted, and the result might be reflected in the awarding conditions. So to give you a sense of actual proposal, let me provide the 2 awarded examples from the last fiscal year. The first example is for target research platform, and it is titled Design of a Universal Rapid Diagnostic Test for the Detection of Chronic Trypanosoma cruzi infections. The disease focus is Chagas disease, which is one of neglected tropical diseases. And the intervention type is diagnostic. The project is managed by a partnership including Nagasaki University, Tulane University, and IS Global. As you might know, they are a Japanese university, an American university, and a Spanish research institute, respectively. As the project focuses on analyzing parasite genetics and verifying clinical blood reactivity, which are in the discovery phase of the target product, the proposal has been applied to TRP, Target Research Platform. Then the second example is for product development platform titled Lead Optimization and Preclinical Studies of New Antimalarial GWT1P Inhibitors. Obviously, the disease focus is malaria, and the intervention type is drug. Then the project is managed by a partnership between Eisai, a Japanese pharmaceutical company, and MMB, Europe-based product development partnership. Then the project is for lead optimization and clinical study. So because of that, the project, the proposal has been submitted to product development platform. So at least, but not last, in my presentation, here you can see the review process. Firstly, you are required to submit intent to apply, ITA form, which is a brief document only for eligibility check. Then, after the ITA form is submitted, GHIT Fund management team will conduct the eligibility check of your proposal to confirm whether your proposal fits into basic criteria, such as intervention, disease, and budget. The ITA form is available on our website. Then when you have passed, this eligibility check, the proposal forms will be provided. So please note that proposal forms are not open to the public, but will be provided only to those who have passed the eligibility check. Then after the submission of full proposal, it goes through different review stages, including reviews by external reviewers and selection committee, and then an interview by selection committee. And finally, when it's approved or reported to the board of directors, finally it's awarded. And then you will move to the reporting or reporting process and also investment agreement conclusion. Then for the detailed dates of the RFP round currently open, the next speaker, Kobo, will mention in his session. So that's about it for my part. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Naoto, for your providing a comprehensive summary about the GHIT Fund's investment platforms, the eligibility criteria, and the review process. Please allow me to remind all the listeners today that we are accepting Q&As anytime during this webinar, and you're welcome to submit your questions from the Q&A functions. So please allow me to then introduce our next speaker to give you more hints about how to write proposals for our GHIT Fund and investment platforms. Next speaker will be Kiichiro Kobori, also from the product development divisions. Kobo-san, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Eriko. My name is Kiichiro Kobori. I am lead partnership development invest for impact here at the GHIT Fund. It's a pleasure to be with you today. At GHIT, we deeply committed to advancing global health through partnerships and strategic investment that drive impact where it is needed most. So we appreciate that creating a proposal takes a lot of time and effort. So let me be direct about what projects fundamentally need in order to be good match for the target research and product development platforms in order to avoid any wasted effort. Partnership. Could you, next slide, please? So partnership. You must have a confirmed partnership between a Japanese partner and a non-Japanese partner before submitting an ITA. Your project will not be considered eligible if you do not meet this criteria when submitting an ITA. Including a partner is not just box ticking. We found a genius partnership in which the Japanese organization brings the essential expertise or technology integral to the project success, not just supporting data or samples, for example. GHIT exists to leverage Japanese innovation for global health. Without a genius Japanese scientific contribution, projects do not align with our mission, regardless scientific merit. If you have difficulty finding the partner, we recommend you have a look at our website under portfolio to refine partnerships of previously founded projects. Although we cannot guarantee partnership formulation, you may also contact us for any path forward. Please allow us to also notice that building new partnership usually takes time, and we recommend you build your plan in advance. Strong concept. Reviewers must clearly understand what product you are developing, how GHIT Fund will meaningfully advance it. If a project is not conceptually strong, it's not a good match for these funding mechanisms yet. So preempt reviewer and selection committee questions such as why should GHIT investment in this solution versus other priority? Qualify the global health need your innovation would meet and anticipate the impact. How this different from the existing solution? Have a clear competitive analysis. We recommend including a landscape analysis of existing technology and products and clearly state the positioning and value proposition of the proposed technology. It's important to explain how the new product and innovation would be better than what is currently available and why this improvement matters in the context of global health. You are also welcome to include a summary of what you are planning to upon the successful completion of your 2 years project. Realistic timeline. Concept of our funding is to support part of the project that can be managed in the next coming 2 years. If your proposed scope cannot reasonable to achieve within a 2 years funding period, given your resource, team capacity, or current development stage, reviewer will notice. Reviewer are the experienced product developers. So primary data. Successful proposal also feature the sufficient primary data, not just interesting idea. What preliminary data do we need? The amount and type of varied by a platform, tool, and R&D phase. But you should define what necessary based on your own R&D phase gate model. Your internal framework for progressing candidates through development milestone. We expect you to clearly explain what preliminary data has been generated, when it was obtained in your development timeline, how it was generated, such as method, by whom, which partner, lab, or CRO. No one-size-fits-all approach. Standards vary dramatically by a project type, making universal guidelines impossible. Each proposal must be evaluated on its own merit and context. This reflects the nature of your work. The difficulty in standardizing requirement highlights why your research is so critical. You are working on a genuinely novel problem. There was a historically supported area. The complexity inherited to breakthrough global health innovation. So, example of insufficient data. Drugs, data that is too early. For example, simple screen hit with no validation or poor reproducibility. Vaccine, just reporting an expressed antigen or a published epitope prediction. Diagnostics, only presenting a design concept or no wet lab validation. So bottom line is your proposal should be scientifically granted, platform aligned, and demonstrating a realistic plan that GHIT support can meaningfully advance. If you are unsure where you are ready, send an email to the address we provide at the end of the presentation. Next slide, please. So those fundamentals are absolutely essential, but even when applicants have all these pieces in place, there is something deeper than the separate successful proposal from the rest. Let me talk about the mindset shift that really makes the difference. This is where many strong researchers and projects stumble, even when you have met all the technical requirements. So academia researcher asked, what can we discover? Product development asked, what problem can we solve? Let me give you a translation exercise. Here is a typical research objective. To investigate the molecular mechanism underlying drug resistance in malaria and identify novel therapeutic target. Now, let's translate this into the product development language. To develop a combination therapy that overcomes existing drug resistance and provides effective malaria treatment for populations with limited healthcare access. The key difference, researcher thinking focusing on understanding mechanism and generating knowledge, while product thinking focusing on solving patient problems, creating accessible, effective solution. Both are important, but we only invest in the later. For your proposal, frame every object in terms of the product you are developing and the patient it will be served. We are investing in the solutions. Many of the awarded proposals are designed to match WHO Target Research Profile or TPPs for new product in that area. The TPP outlines the desired profile or characteristic of the target product that is aimed at a particular disease or diseases. For those who are unfamiliar, WHO TPP are documents carefully created by the expert to guide the development of key missing health products. They stated the intended use, target population, and other desired attributes of such missing product, including safety and efficacy related characteristics. Carefully check whether WHO has a TPP that apply to your product area. Explain how your product meets the desired characteristics to ensure that the product you are proposing has the greatest practical impact on the global health. In your application that involve the diagnostics, you will have to share your own product TPP even for proposal submit to the target research platforms. As many of your applicants reframe around this mindset shift, the common question we receive is, what exactly do we expect you to accomplish in 2 years? The short answer is, we want you to tell us. So GHIT can only fund a project for up to 2 years, but we don't have a secret checklist of required outcome. Instead, we want to drive what's appropriate. So unique flexibility. This approach is actually quite unique in the R&D funding. Many founders impose rigid standardized milestone regardless where your project starts or what intervention you are developing. We recognize discovery stage malaria compound and late stage tuberculosis diagnosis require completely different trajectory. So please refer to the activity milestone table, which will be available after ITA eligibility check. Balance ambition with concrete, realistic progress. Look honestly at where your projects stand today. Assess your team capability and resource, then propose what you realistically believe you can achieve within the time frame. We fully understand that complete R&D development cycle must take longer than 2 years. What we want are meaningful progress that move your innovation significantly forward. What is realistic depending on your unique project? If you are early discovery, 2 years might mean identify and validating promising compound. If you are in a late clinical development, perhaps it's completing a toxicology study and preparing for the clinical trial. For diagnostics development, it could mean prototype refinement and field testing. The bottom line is proposal derivatives that representing substantial advancement while being achievable given your starting point, team expertise, available resource. It should be clear where you are now, where you're thinking you will be in the 2 years, and why the progress pattern for the global health. Next slide, please. So that framework can apply for every section of the proposal. Now let's tackle common challenge that trip up even the most experienced applicants. Let's address a few challenges we often see in the proposal. Risk assessment framework. This is where some other strong proposals stumble. Usually the challenge isn't missing context, it's a vague, generic language. We want concrete thinking about risk specific to your product, platform, stage, and implementation plan. Where appropriate, please refer to the industry standard risk assessment such as ISO 14971, ICH-Q8, so for identifying, evaluating, and control risk. Consider the following steps as appropriate for your project. Risk identification. List all potential failure points in the development process. Risk analysis. Assess probability and severity of risks. Risk evaluation. Prioritize risk based on the criticality. Risk control measure. Define action to reduce risk. For example, alternative method, backup supplier, or redundancy measures. Reduce risk assessment. Confirm that all the risks are mitigated to the acceptable level. Monitoring and post-market surveillance. Plan for ongoing risk assessment during clinical trial or post-commercialization. What a strong risk assessment looks like. Specific identification. Technical, regulatory, operational, and partner risk described in a concrete term, not generality. Realistic assessment. Likelihood and impact of each risk. Practical mitigation. Proactive strategy with clear responsibility assessment for monitoring and response. Appropriate scope. Doesn't need to be legacy, but must be suitable, specific, and tailored to your project context or development stage. Example of the weak versus strong risk mitigation. If this is a risk, regulatory approval delayed by 12 months, then weak mitigation, we will work closely with the regulator and monitor the situation. Strong mitigation is to avoid regulatory delay. Pre-submission meeting will be scheduled with WHO pre-qualification group. The budget also includes support for the regulatory consultant with 15 plus years NTT expertise. For example, Dr. Tanaka, consultant company Y, or for example, Dr. Smith, Institute Z, who has already begun communicating with WHO pre-qualification group, and regulatory in the target country will lead regulatory interaction for the project with monthly progress report to the project leader team. In the event of approval by the pre-qualification progress program is delayed, the institution involved in this project have committed to continue support in terms of time, money, and staff for the registration process beyond GHIT Fund period if necessary. So, pro tip for structured analysis, consider establishing a framework like ISO 14971, medical device risk management, which I briefly summarized, or ICH-Q9, quality risk management. Next slide, please. Now, risk assessment about managing what could go wrong, but what about the bigger picture of what should go right? How can an applicant help the reviewer understanding the strategic journey? That's the second major area where we see the proposal struggle, strategic thinking about big pictures. Integrated product plan. Integrated development plan. So our priority to get new product to market. Thus, we want to understand how the 2 years of work you are proposing GHIT fit into the greater plan for the product. That's why thinking through the strong integrated development plan is so important, and this thinking should inform your entire application. There is no specific integrated development section, plan section in our application form. It's really more a strategic perspective that should be through our proposal. For those who are not familiar, an integrated development and roadmap for development of your product encompasses all stages from discovery to commercialization. What a strong integrated product plan looks like: defined element, qualify key activity, derivatives, and decision point with go/no-go criteria. Partner rules, including specific responsibility for each collaborating organization. Domain-specific milestone for drugs, lead optimization, in vivo efficacy, preclinical profiling for vaccine, immunogenicity or challenge study for diagnostic, product design, and validation. Strategic alignment, aligned with your own phase gate model and justified proposal work based on the existing data. Future step, make it clear what next and what steps come next on the road to the commercialization if the funded project is successful. Reviewer-friendly detail. Be specific enough for the external reviewer, judge feasibility and cohesiveness. Next slide, please. So once applicants have a strategic roadmap, next challenge can be translated into the financial terms that make sense for the reviewers. Every significant, excellent proposal can be sampled here. Your development plan should directly inform how you structure and justify your budget. What makes a strong budget? Transparency. Clear breakdown by cost category, such as personnel, material, subcontractor, and by partner. Milestone alignment. Costs tied directly to your development plan activity. Detailed justification. Major item explained with FTEs, unit costs, and underlying assumptions specified. Reviewers' accountability. Sufficient detail for the external reviewer to understand how funding support proposal work and assess reasonability. Proportional logic. Budget should be reasonable and proportional to the proposed output. So co-funding for the product development platform. Once you reach the proof of concept of stage, GHIT cannot be your only founder. You need to bring other money to the table and further along your project. The more non-GHIT funding you need. The requirement for co-funding is varied according to the R&D stage of a project. You can refer to the RFP for the more detail. So, to wrap up with a few final tips, proposal submission, here is the most common issue we see that's easily preventable. First, long file format. Word only unless specified others. Second, exceeding page limit. Reviewer may stop reading at the limit. Third, missing required document. Incomplete application aren't reviewed. Fourth, late submission. Don't wait until the last minute. Leave time for final reflection and adjustment. Fifth, inconsistent budget. Number between narrative and budget form must be matched exactly. Next slide, please. So, as Naoto briefly mentioned, intended to apply for ITA for short. So, your entry point, it is for basic eligibility check of your proposal. Think of it as structured conversation start with GHIT rather than the proposal. We keep a portal open for about a month after releasing each RFP, giving you time to prepare thoughtfully. The form itself is simple. We are asking for the basic, your title, type of the intervention you are developing, which development phase you are in, and target disease. Just checking the related boxes. For partnership, you list your collaborating organizations and including which are Japanese versus non-Japanese entity. One organization becomes your designated point of contact, the designated development partner, usually leading applicants. Then comes 3 short narrative sections. We are talking a couple thousand words for each for your project goal, your 2 years project overview, and explain your global health impact and competitive advantage. There aren't many dissertants. We won't focus clear summaries. Finally, just one budget number in Japanese yen, no spreadsheet or no line item breakdown at this stage. We look for the scope for not detailed account. The goal of this approach is let you test the waters without investing too much time in a full proposal. If your intent to apply is successful, then we will ask for the comprehensive submission. For the current RFP round, submission deadline is 10 a.m. July 9th, 2025, Japan Standard Time. The ITA is currently available on the PD and TRP page of GHIT website. If you are intend to apply is successful, you will receive invitation, submit a full proposal along with our forms for the proposal, timeline, budget, and other relevant forms. Forms for the full proposal is not open to the public. So, proposal is much more substantial than the ITA, up to 30 pages of the main proposal plus 20 pages of the supported material. This is where you really get to tell your story. The proposal follows a logical flow that builds your case systematically. You start with an executive summary that captures both your product and project goals. Then we dive into the partnership, who you are working with, your history together, and contractual relationship. This is where the Japanese partner required become critical. Then conceptual and enterprise basis for your project covered your target product profile, which should align with the WHO standard, your scientific rationale, what you are accomplished so far. Reviewers want to see your track record, publication, patents, previous review, and funding history. Your project plan is technical heart of the application. It includes the development scope, timeline, using our Gantt chart template, key milestone you will report on, your method, and crucial risk mitigation plan we discussed earlier. Budget and impact round out the proposal. This includes a comprehensive budget justification, co-funding source, and for product development proposal. How you will address global health needs and clear market access strategy. The goal of our application structure is guide you through telling the complete and compelling story from what problem you are solving and how will patient ultimate benefit? So then let's walk through our review process. So 3 external reviewers review each eligible proposal. There is an expert from many countries with real-world experience in the global health technology development. They are using the standard evaluation to assess 3 key areas: scientific and technical merit, potential impact, partnership, and project management. Process is designed to be objective and consistent across all proposals, so every applicant gets a fair expert evaluation. Based on aggregated external review result and subsequent evaluation by our selection committee, top-tier applicants get invited for the virtual interview with selection committee. This is chance to present your proposal work directly and answer questions. For target research proposal, selection committee makes the final funding decision. For product development proposal, selection committee makes funding recommendation to our board. The board makes the final call. So review process for full proposal takes about 7 months from submission to the full proposal through awarded notification. You will hear a final determination on whether your project will be awarded by the end of February 2026. Either way, we will share the feedback from the reviewer evaluation. Here is something critical I want everyone to hear. Don't be discouraged if your first submission isn't successful. Most of our impactful funded projects are not awarded on their first try. We strongly encourage resubmission, especially when applicants take time to reflect on our feedback and revise accordingly. The most common improvement we see between rejection and later approval: more focused, flexible development plan with clear milestone timeline and regulatory strategy. Strong primary data supporting the proposal work. More clearly defined partner rules and responsibility. More specific, creditable risk mitigation, integrated development, and global access plan. Resubmitting application should ensure all the projects aligned with GHIT strategic priority. So thank you all for your attention and time. This concludes my presentation. I truly appreciate your interest and engagement.
Thank you again for attending our webinar and sharing your questions. And if you have any additional questions to ask or would like to specifically discuss about your project with us, you're welcome to reach out to us anytime via email. And we hope to be able to answer your questions via email communications.
GHIT Fund. Fight neglected diseases through partnerships.